So we understand what an attack surface looks like. We've seen RiskIQ's philosophy on digital threat management. We understand a bit of how RiskIQ's digital footprint product works, and we have a pretty good idea of how we might be able to go and start using our inventory to actually make informed decisions. The last stage in this training is maintaining a proactive state. We want to build on that foundation of the visibility, taking action on our inventory, and now we want to couple that with reporting and making sure that we're moving in a positive direction and that we're constantly reducing risk for the organization as our attack surface changes. And so here's our philosophy on the risk management process. You begin with a footprint. So we're going to gather data about your security posture. We're going to create a baseline of your current state of security, and then we're going to maintain that list of assets and their status. That's going to feed into a risk assessment. And so right in this form, on number 2, we're essentially establishing and weighing all the critical risk contributors against your assets. And then we're going to score this based on live, continuous, inventory, and then status. And essentially, we break this down into 2 ways, and I'll go over that in a couple of slides. But we take all of this information and we put it into an action and remediation plan. So we're assessing the risk of the organization overall. We're making it easy for the business to be able to essentially triage or drill down into the critical issues or assets, and then making it simple to assign the remediation action to the appropriate department. And so here's our methodology for Risk Ori. Again, you start with your own digital footprint. We have all of your external assets and the details about them. We establish the risk tolerance. So every organization is going to have their own level of acceptable risk. We then have custom weighting where there's different behaviors or indicators that help factor in what's most important for an organization, what do they deem to be most risky. And then we're going to provide a score that's calculated in a very transparent way so that the organization itself can understand all of the components that drove to the scoring itself, and then allow them all of the tools to kind of remediate and improve, and giving them that full kind of visibility so that as they make changes and they improve their security over time, it's reflected in the score itself. And so what contributes to the digital risk that we see in terms of the score? We've broken this down into 2 buckets. Threat indicators. These are active threats against your organization. This could be blacklisted hosts, blacklisted IP addresses, hosted web pages with malware or serving out phish. And then we have the more generic security posture. These are security vulnerabilities and risks that exist across your entire footprint. So this could be open port information, domain configuration, hosting and networking details, website vulnerabilities, SSL configuration, and so on. And essentially what we do here is we build a risk score on top of your digital footprint, all of the inventory that we have available. Again, we break it down into threat indicators and security posture. And then we make it easy so that if you want to dive into, let's say, one of the security posture controls, we can look at CVE exposure here. We can identify our score. We can see the number of websites that fall into each category. If we ultimately click into one of those categories, let's say that we've identified high scoring CVEs, we can see here all of the particular assets that are impacted by these CVEs, including the website, the tag information, whether or not the site's live, what it's currently resolving to, the last time it was updated, the CVE that it's associated with, and then the web component that triggered that CVE. Finally, we can dive into one of those assets directly by clicking on more information, and we can see all of the details that RiskIQ has, including the owner information, the attributes, and then all of the audit trail and other details that the security team can use to make an effective decision.